Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 36 of the Sports Fixins podcast. I am Michael Dine, alongside me, as always, Mr. Justin Minkley, and for the first time in, one hell of a lot of episodes, it's RJ Larson back on the program. Hello, RJ.
Mike, Justin, hello. Thanks for having me back. Just got done with finals for this past semester, so a lot more free time on my hands. So thank you very much for sending me an invite to be back on.
Nice to have a special show for the last show of the year. And RJ, have you found any maple trees to your liking?
Oh, absolutely. There's got a couple in my yard. There's also, some oak, some pine. We got a great selection up here.
Ah, yes, the wonderful state of Wisconsin. By the way, Mike, final show of the year, it's our Jerome Bettis number.
Yes, it is. It is the show number 36. I was going to ask you guys for your favorite 36s in sports. I love Jerome Bettis. I have a crappy memory, but one of my earliest memories is the second half of Steelers and Seahawks that I have on a VHS tape somewhere in my house. Well, when you did that sort of thing.
Fuck you.
So Jerome Bettis, RJ, do you have a favorite 36 off the top of your head?
I mean, the couple that popped in my head right away was Leroy Butler and Nick Collins, a couple of great safeties for the Packers. I don't think anybody for the Brewers was really ever 36, and 36 wasn't really. I don't think anybody really big for the Bucks. So yeah, I just had to go with Nick Collins and Leroy Butler, a couple of famous Packer players.
36 is really only a football number.
Yeah. Kind
of an odd number. I mean, well, NHL goes that high with some. Don't you have some guys up there, Minkley? Baseball doesn't really go that high unless it's a pitcher.
Robin Roberts is the only guy I can think of, other than Jerome Bettis. So I'm just gonna say Bettis for this one.
All right, on today's show, where we told you last week we were going to talk about the minor league baseball stuff and them trimming down, them moving teams around.
Yeah,
with RJ
we
Larson,
started off pretty well. We started off pretty well with that conversation where there was a lot of good things you brought up in that conversation, Mike. And it is a good week to not just talk about this again, but start off the show. RJ, nice to have you on the show. So, Mike, there were some things you talked about last week, especially with the minor league programs. And I think that's where we can start today.
Well, we'll start there in a second as I keep going through the show rundown here. Minkley jumps me just a little.
Damn, my bad.
So, minor league stuff with RJ Larson, and then we've got the NBA. It's starting next week around Christmas. Probably, I don't know if we'll mention too much Corona John stuff. Maybe get RJ's thoughts. I don't know yet, but we'll see where it goes and how the time is. But we also we'll talk about our best off seasons, maybe our worst off seasons, booms, busts, things of that nature, what we think's going to happen in the NBA this year. And then we'll make playoff predictions for the Western and Eastern conferences as well. And then we'll get into the NFL talk. I have a note on Matt Nagy and the Bears I guess it'd be Bill Lazor in the Bears running game because Nagy is not play calling anymore. And how just absurdly stupid they are. And then we'll get into general NFL notes, and then we'll get into picks. And RJ, who's got the time, is going to be picking alongside with us as well. So we'll have a special guest picker this week at Minkley. What could have been a big week in picks last week, but wasn't.
Yeah, we're gonna take a gander at that and talk about Week 14 in general. It was a really fun week.
And of course, we will go through Justin Minkley's winners and losers.
Of course.
So we'll do that as well. So we start in minor league baseball. As we told you last week, the MLB trimmed down with the contracts. Was it, RJ, do you know the number? Is it 20 or 30? I think it's 30 teams that they got rid of.
I don't remember the exact number. There's 120 total teams. I know that. And I don't remember the original number, but yeah, between 20 and 30 probably sounds about right. I know two teams out of the Midwest League got cut, but other than that, I don't know.
Wait, who other than Burlington?
Kane County Cougars. I did not see.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did not see them.
So, RJ, as we've told people on the program, you've been on here before. RJ, one season of play-by-play, right?
Yes.
The second would have Oh, I hate you, computer. Okay, sorry about that, RJ. My computer has decided that my blue snowball is no longer to its liking, so that's fun. Anyway, start with you. So, uh, oh, there we go. You having worked for Burlington, and we both have a good mutual friend who was doing security for Burlington last summer and is kind of from that area. So, what's your take on one, the majors cutting down the number of minor league teams, and two, what do you know about Burlington and the area and how this impacts them?
Yeah, I mean, just to start off with teams getting cut, obviously it really sucks because, I mean, for Burlington especially, being the longest running minor league base, one of the longest running minor league baseball teams and the smallest market team, just a great tradition in that city. Definitely sad to see. It kind of really, I think, just kind of came down to kind of the market where some of these teams were and also kind of some of the facilities. Like the Midwest League was originally a low A league for the Class A, and every team that stayed in the Midwest League is now a high A team. So like the Cedar Rapids Colonels, they're now the high A for the Twins. The Quad City River Bandits, they're now with the Royals high A. The Timber Rattlers are still with the Brewers. The Beloit Snappers. God, who did they go with? Because they're of somebody new. I forgot.
Is it Beloit? No, isn't Beloit Oakland?
They're not with Oakland anymore. They're with the Marlins. They're with the Marlins now.
Oh.
And then the Peoria Chiefs, I think they're still at the Cardinals. I don't remember, though. I'm like
South Bend's still with the Cubs. I know that.
South Bend's still at the Cubs. Fort Wayne's still at the Padres. So on and so forth. But just kind of, with my year in the Midwest League, or 2 years, I should say, 1 year broadcasting, just kind of looking at, some of the other teams' ballparks compared to ours and the markets and stuff. It's just, I think, hard for Burlington just kind of compete with them because, obviously nowadays in sports, it's a facilities arms race. Athletes want to have the nicest facilities possible. They want to be in these big cities and stuff like that. So unfortunately, it just kind of came time for Burlington. It just would have been nice just to have the 2020 season just for one final hoorah type thing. Obviously, in 2019, no one could have predicted this to happen. So it would have been nice to, say a big thank you to all the fans and everyone who came for so many years and been part of the Bees organization when they were associated with the minor leagues. That, I would say, was more tough to not have that final season than to say it like them being gone, because it was kind of something that like you didn't want to happen, but you just kind of knew it was coming type of thing. Like you were just kind of crossing your fingers that there was a chance, but ultimately you kind of figured that, at least for me, I kind of expected that to happen just because with the Major League Baseball, I did a report for my sports finance class about their losses because of COVID and stuff, and just I spent a little bit of time talking about the minor leagues and how so many players had gotten cut from what they were getting paid in general, and the minor leagues really struggled this past year. A lot of teams had to, get like small business loans and things like that to kind of stay afloat. So that's kind of my take on that. I guess I wasn't really surprised. I was just kind of sad that we couldn't get one final season in with everyone saying, it's been a great run type of thing. But as far as how it affects the Burlington community, I have a lot of people from Burlington, a lot of passionate Bees fans from that area on Facebook, and definitely a lot of hate towards Rob Manfred in some of those posts for sure.
Well, there's plenty of hate towards Rob Manfred anywhere you go.
God, yes.
Yeah, well, that's understandable because he makes Roger Goodell look good. But anyway, yeah, just a lot of it was a really tough thing, I think, for the community to see them not be associated with the minor leagues anymore. But I mean, Burlington they're still going to be a baseball team. I don't know exactly what the plans are. My guess is they'll be an independent league team in like the Northwoods League or something like that. So they'll still be around. It just won't be a minor league team anymore. So I mean, I think that will make it a little bit easier for the city itself. That's really all I can really say about.
Yeah, I mean, I was
guess.
gonna say, so what? Are you gonna go Northwoods and be summer ball? Or are you gonna go? Are you gonna go the summer ball route, or maybe go independent? Like I don't know what Joliet's. I can't remember what the hell it's called. Joliet, like the Slammers or
Yeah, Joliet Slammers. Yeah.
Pioneer maybe. Something like that. I was gonna say. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't know anything officially on what their plans are, but my guess is they're going to go summer ball or independent league route, just because, I mean, even though Burlington is kind of, a smaller market and stuff like that, I mean, Burlington is still an incredibly nice ballpark. I mean, Mike, obviously you can attest that. You've been there before. It's still a really great venue. Doesn't quite have the, big fancy ballparks that some of the other minor league teams had, and I think that was kind of a big factor too. Again, facilities and market, they're two big factors for sports teams nowadays. But compared to, I mean, I don't want to rip on independent league teams or anything like that, but I mean, compared to other independent league teams, I mean, Burlington's got a top-notch facility, I'd say. So I would say that there's a lot of teams in those leagues that would want to jump towards Burlington to try to have a team there, because they already got a great ballpark that was already set for minor league teams. So I would say
that's the thing that I think is weird, that I kind of don't understand about this whole thing. And I was going to say this too, is like, look, I've been there. It's a nice place. I don't see anything wrong with that facility. And if you look at what A-ball is supposed to be, you're going to have 17-year-olds go there. You're going to have 16-year-olds go there. You're going to have international players, like especially with how it is now. You're going to have international guys who are basically fresh out of your camp, who are fresh out of international camps in the Dominican. You're going to have a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds who are incredibly young go there to your high A parks. And what I just don't get is I don't get what's wrong with Burlington for that. Why does somebody who's 16-year-old need, why does a 17-year-old from Cuba or an 18-year-old from California, why do they need these? Not to say the Burlington facilities are bad, but I don't get why they need to go to a $20 million stadium in a big market. And go look at some of the stuff, like Kannapolis is not that big. Kannapolis is still with the White Sox. That's not that big. There's plenty of markets that are like, maybe not as small as Burlington, but yeah, you're right. They're one of the smaller markets, but still, what the hell's wrong with it? It's a nice field.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can actually find a goddamn parking space. The food's pretty cheap for being a sporting event. The tickets are cheap. It's a good time, and this is the point I made last week, RJ, and I want your thoughts on this. The real reason I don't understand this: what's it easier to go to, a minor league game or a major league game? A minor league game. It's less expensive. You can get out of a minor league game for yourself before you could park at a major league game in terms of money. So what I will never understand is, if you're Rob Manfred and you're Major League Baseball and you're the owners, you're sitting there and going, okay, the kids are playing football and basketball because the urban centers are getting bigger and they're expanding. And it's hard to play baseball in an urban setting, so basketball is becoming the dominant inner city, and football is becoming the dominant around there too. In the country, the hillbillies all like football a lot better than they like baseball. So the only place that baseball is still around is the legacy places where everybody's kids have played baseball, and that's mostly out a little bit. Or places where, like, major markets where you have a team. That's kind of where that is. And then they go play out in the suburbs. So with that in mind, you don't really have a place to grow the game anymore. Why the hell would you take away a cheap opportunity for a family to see an entertainment event and the possibility of giving a kid his first baseball memory and make him fall in love with baseball. Whether it's in Iowa or Kane County or wherever it is, why the hell would you take away the cheapest way to introduce new fans into your sport? I don't understand the logic there.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to your first question really quick about the facilities and stuff like that, Burlington's facilities, I think, were, like you said, very, very nice. It's just to be the minor leagues were just requiring a lot of upgrades and stuff like that they're just I don't think could afford, to be quite honest. So I think that was a big reason, because they were doing a lot of like fundraising and stuff like that to try to maybe get the money for those renovations to stay in the league. So I mean, their ballpark and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just they would need these like upgrades and stuff like that the league was like requiring. And
I don't understand what the hell you need them upgrades for. I don't see what the hell's wrong with that. What the hell's wrong with that place?
it's just,
I won't get that either.
well, I mean, it's kind of like with college sports, unfortunately, I guess. Just you want to have the nicest place to, I don't know. It's just facilities are an extremely important part of the game, and nicer facilities attract more fans, I guess. And like I said, I think just the markets, I think MLB is trying to shoot for bigger markets, for bigger cities to attract more fans. That's kind of the way I see it. But yeah, in terms of the game, I mean, I can tell you right now, I mean, Rob Manfred's not thinking about the kids and the fans watching the game. He cares about the parents, because they're the ones that got the money. The MLB just, they want money. That's all they care about, because if you look at baseball over the past, 10, 20 years, it's going down in popularity. And they're trying to do a lot of things to change it, to try to make it more popular amongst young people, like our age and younger. And I mean, for like my hometown, Burlington, Wisconsin, baseball is a very big sport, because, I mean, we're one of the best cities in Wisconsin in terms of baseball. We've won like 5 or 6 Little League state championships. Our high school team is, in the past 5 years, we've won 1 state title. We've been to 3 more. So, like, yeah, in a city like mine, baseball is a very, very big thing. But you go to like a school at, say, Racine Case, they're not really big on baseball, because Racine's, like you kind of said, it's a bigger city, more of an inner type place. But they're a tremendous basketball school. They're one of the best. Them and Racine Horlick, one of the best basketball schools around this area. So yeah, it's definitely, baseball's losing popularity among a lot of people, just because it's not, a fast-paced game as much as basketball is, I think. I'm trying to remember this, but there was this one thing I saw on Facebook, and it said that there's actually more action in a baseball game than in a football game.
Yep, there's more actual play time when the ball is in play and moving. Yep, I saw that too.
Yeah, which
I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and trying to think what else here. I mean, in terms of like internationally, the game, baseball's, I would say, is actually more popular in like Central America, Japan, and South Korea than it is in the United States.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I felt like I knew where you were gonna go with that. Yes, I think that baseball is more popular in like Central America and the Caribbean than it is here.
Yeah, and even, I mean, Major League Baseball has spent a big chunk of change going down there. I mean, there were a lot of Beast players that went to these like special baseball academies in like Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, because the MLB went down there to spend money down there to try to find these guys that you never hear of without it type of thing. So the league is
look at the Braves and the White Sox. Two
Yeah.
of the teams that are positioned in great spots for the futures. Look at what their position players are. Abreu's from, like, if we're talking Central America, Caribbean, Abreu, Moncada, Jimenez, Robert. Off the top of my head, I don't know where Grandal's from. I can't remember whether he's an American with like kind of a foreignish last name or whether he's a foreign-born player as well. Mazzara last year, and then like the Braves, like their cornerstones, Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna Jr. You know, it's the international market's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, it does suck for like, people around the Burlington, Iowa area that, yeah, it's a great opportunity for kids to get introduced to the game and stuff like that. And I mean, minor league baseball is the future of baseball right there. You get to see a lot of guys young in their careers before they get up to the big leagues. And absolutely, Mike, you hit it right in the nail with saying that it is by far so much cheaper to go to a minor league game than a major league game. There's so many more opportunities to go to minor league games because they're spread out throughout the country. Where you got the MLB, they're only in like 30. There's 30 teams, and it's basically in 30 big cities. I mean,
I'm in South Bend, Indiana. I got 2 hours to Chicago, or I drive, what is it, like 3 hours? No, 2 hours to 3 hours to Cincy.
Right.
Or I can just go to the South Bend Cubs. They're right here. Or even if South Bend was gone, I could drive an hour and go to, or wait, is an hour and an hour and a half? Hour and a half down to Indy to see the Pirates AAA club, Indy, whatever they are now.
And you got
Fort
Wayne too.
Oh yeah, Fort Wayne's actually closer. Fort Wayne's an hour east, so I can go to a Tin Caps game too.
Yeah.
So it's so much because that's what baseball has to do. Because you're not going to do as good as basketball and football going in the future. So these little regional hubs for cheap entertainment, it's what you're going to do because we're in the era now where so many people just use screen to do, whatever. Like, what is more economical, especially with the societal issues and the economic issues we've had and are only getting worse? What's more economical for a parent who's got 2 kids? Click on the TV and stick their children in front of Hulu, or take the kids to a major league game that's going to run them $300?
Right. And I mean,
and if you go to a minor league game, it's going to with 4 people, it's only going to cost you like $50 or $60.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy concessions and go to the game. At least that's what it was like in Burlington. I don't know in Charlotte or the bigger ones if they charge for parking and all that stuff, but like at least at the lowest level, it's the best way to do it. It's not as cheap as just like getting a Hulu subscription, but it's cheap entertainment, and it's a cheap day of entertainment and gives the kids memories, and that's something that you would think the people with the money, the parents, as you mentioned earlier, would want. But hey, Rob Manfred's the commissioner of baseball, and I'm not. So when the game dies, it's his fault. All right. Baseball aside, while we move on. Oh, by the way, before we move on, I do want to mention Burlington Bees have been affiliated with the minor league system in baseball since 1963. The team's been around. It says they were founded in 24, but the first season, like the iterations before the franchise that is now the Bees, that's had all kinds of different names, the nature of being a minor league team. They've been around since the Mississippi Valley League in 1924. And they have been with about every damn team. I didn't know this. Is this true what Wikipedia says, RJ? Is Community Field really around since 47?
I don't remember the exact year it was built, but yeah, it's pretty old because it was built. I think it was built like around the 40s or 50s. I don't remember the exact year. There was a fire in the 70s.
And 71, it says on Wikipedia.
Yeah, then there was that fire, so it was rebuilt, and then they did a bunch of renovations to it. Like 2001 or 2002, I think, which is how it got.
04.
04, okay.
The stadium was upgraded prior to the 2004 season, revamped concessions, partial covering of the grandstand, improved sound system, and a new scoreboard. Doesn't look like anything after that, at least on Wikipedia. Okay, but even still, you know what? For that stadium being built in 1947, that sure looks good. I mean, if you go into Wrigley, you can tell how old Wrigley is. But like when you go into an old park, you can tell it's an old park. But I was very surprised. I did not know Burlington. I did not know Community Field had been around that long.
Yeah, and I mean,
all right. No, go ahead, Jay.
I mean, the biggest difference between Wrigley Field and Community Field is the Community Field doesn't have to deal with the trash fans that Wrigley Field has to deal with.
Don't forget the goals.
Oh boy.
All right. So moving on. NBA season is starting finally. Minkley apparently doesn't care, but I'm
so
sure
you just
RJ
really had to put that out there, huh?
I'm sure RJ Larson is excited about the NBA coming back.
I mean, there is stuff to enjoy, like with the NBA season coming back. There is. We get to watch the Bulls again and maybe not suck.
Let's see. When the hell does it start? Thursday, December 22nd, looks like, is when the NBA starts off with the Golden State Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets, and then the battle for Los Angeles, the Clippers and the Lakers, both on TNT. The first Bulls game is against the Hawks at 8 o'clock on December 23rd. That's a Wednesday night. So, guys, what's your thoughts going into the NBA season? Who's your boom? Who's your bust? Do you think they should play, not play? What's your general NBA thoughts as you walk into another year?
I believe. Wait, who's starting?
Who's you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think they should actually. They're not doing the bubble thing. It would just make sense that they don't actually do anything for this upcoming season. I mean, I think I mentioned it on the last show, Mike. The Blazers and the Raptors wound up having COVID issues around their stadium anyway. So I don't think this is going to go well. And the NBA even said even if COVID impacts the players, they're still going to do it. So nice job caring about the player safety. But
you could say the same thing in the NFL.
Oh yeah, the NFL is basically F them kids, which it doesn't surprise me. That's the NFL's policy. We saw how the CBA thing worked out in the offseason. But if we're talking about teams and how that's going to go, I think we're finally going to see the Houston Rockets in decline. James Harden has pretty much let be known that he doesn't give a shit about the Rockets anymore, with Daryl Morey now in Philadelphia. But I do think we're going to see emergence in teams like the Nets and Bulls now. I think the Nets have KD healthy. That may work out for them, depending on if Kyrie Irving wants to shoot himself or anyone else in the foot, literally, this upcoming season. Or what I said about the Bulls. I think this is the big problem with the Bulls was the past couple of seasons. Jim Boylan was not liked by the locker room, and was
an idiot.
Well, he was an idiot too. But we may see development of Lauri Markkanen, which is very important. We're going to see probably how Kobe White's going to develop too. I think this is going to be a much better year for the Bulls. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like there is some optimism, even though I'm not a Bulls fan, by the fans and the people who pay attention to that team.
RJ, your general thoughts as we head into this NBA season?
Well, definitely, for me, the team that I think is the favorite to win it right now is the Lakers. I think that them getting LeBron and AD back and they had a very good offseason, so right now they're the best team in my eyes. Out of the East, I really like Boston right now. Honestly, I think Boston really should have made the finals last year. I really don't know how they didn't, but Boston's my favorite to win the East this year. I think they kind of got a chip on their shoulder losing to Miami again. They got Tatum, Kemba Walker. They got a really good core. The Brooklyn Nets, yeah, they can make some noise. I don't think they're going to win a conference title just because I don't think they're good enough. I don't think, yeah, KD is a good player, but I don't think Kyrie's really anything special in my opinion. I think he's kind of a nutcase, personally. He's a good, I mean, yeah, he's a good player, but he's not as good as he thinks he is. So, I mean, I don't think they'll be as good as people think. I really don't know how Steve Nash is going to do as a coach. I mean, based on what I've seen in past years, player coaches really aren't that great. They don't work out as well as people think they do. But who knows, maybe he'll change the stereotype. A sleeper pick for me in the East is I think the Atlanta Hawks can definitely be a team to reckon with this year. They got one of the better off seasons in my eyes. They got Bogdanovich, Gallinari. They're going to have a really good starting five. They got good bench players at Chris Dunn and Rajon Rondo right now. I could see them being possibly a 5 or a 4 seed in the East coming up this year. I think the Raptors, they'll take a bit of a dip. Lowry continues to get older. Siakam, I don't think can do it by himself. I think he needs another superstar.
No surge in Gasol is going to hurt them. They don't have bigs anymore.
Yeah. Yep, and Ibaka left too in free agency. So
yeah, no surge, no Marc Gasol is going to kill them.
Yeah, they can. I think they'll drop down like a 6 or a 7 seed. The Pacers, The Pacers, I honestly don't know what they're gonna do. The Pacers are so interesting because they actually have a really good team on paper, but they always seem to just underachieve so much. Like TJ Warren was a great player in the bubble, and then they went to the playoffs riding all that momentum and got swept by Miami. Miles Turner is a great young
Except the Bengals don't have anything valuable to rob.
Hashtag free AJ Green.
I think AJ Green is like in the Aaron Rodgers category when Aaron Rodgers had Mike McCarthy. Like, I think he's still a great receiver, but he's realized like the more he plays in orange and black and white, like he has no career.
All right, well, this has gone on so long that either Skype has run out of numbers or it has just split the recording into two pieces because the timing went from 3 hours and 5 minutes to 1 minute and 54 seconds. So if I lose 3 hours of this recording, I'm going to break my computer into several small pieces. Because I sure as hell am not doing this again. It's been 3 hours on a Wednesday. And I am streaming for the Pro Baseball Experience in 2 hours, so my voice is already gone.
This is longer than Matt Nagy practice. We're going to gather everyone and figure out what's going wrong to sing Kumbaya and fix whatever we can. That's a personal issue.
Earplugs.
I'm starting to get too sarcastic. I manage the Sports Fixins Facebook page. There's been a lot of good content on there.
And we'll do something for NBA opening day and for like New Year stuff, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking, Mike, do a couple polls. We'll do like, okay, who do you...
And we can post next week's picks on there?
Yeah, post next week's picks. I'll need your picks, obviously, for that. We'll do a poll on who is the best champion, best sports moment of 2020. Not Rudy Gobert catching Corona. That's out of the category.
Oh, I can't do Rudy Gobert shutting down the NBA? Damn.
By the way,
that's okay. I'll just put the high school kid who blasted that ref.
Actually, that's one of my favorite moments of the year, no cap.
But that's my worst. That's on my worst list.
How about Rudy Gobert still has no sense of smell, which I think is hilarious.
Oh my God.
So I guess no one can you can put rat poison in his Gatorade and he won't know. Just throwing that out there. But I manage the Sports Fixins Facebook page. jdsportscorner.wordpress.com is where I write. You want to check out winners and losers. We should have an NBA playoff prediction of who's going to make it. Don't know when I'm going to write that yet, but just know it's going to be done. And Mike, that's all. That's what I have.
RJ, do you have a radio show next semester? Radio shows at all?
Yeah, me and Andrew Pontifex had a radio show this past semester. Don't know what the plan is for next semester. Okay. I am the sports director for the dog next semester, though.
Yay!
So I'll be doing that. But you can follow me on Facebook. Just Google me, RJ Larson. Instagram, RJ Larson4. Snapchat, RJ_Larson15. If anybody out there wants to ask me anything or harass me or anything like that, feel free. But you can catch me on Western Illinois women's basketball calls for home games this season on Mixler and some games on Love NFL All Access.
On what?
Mixler. That's
what the hell is that?
It's a new broadcasting software we're using this year instead of the WRMS station.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what's wrong with RMS?
I don't know. They're not using it this year.
Oh, that's stupid. What? Yeah. So what is it? Is it Mixler.com? How do I find this?
If you just Google Mixler, you just have to download the app.
Okay.
If you go to Western's athletics website and click on their game story that has the radio and the TV links, you can just listen to it through that.
Okay.
And next game for us will be December 30th against Chicago State.
Oh boy. How's that basketball team looking this year?
Currently, we are unfortunately 0-6, coming off a 85-55 loss to Illinois State. But they've played about 5 games in a 9-day span, so they're very tired, I'd imagine. They're having a bit of a break for finals. They got a game against Bellarmine University on the 19th. Then they have Iowa on the 22nd, and then Chicago State on the 30th.
So do you think the tiredness is the real reason, or is it just they can't score?
I think the tiredness had a huge factor because they didn't look bad against Northern and Eastern Illinois, but when they had to play Indiana State, Southeast Missouri State, and Illinois State, they just looked tired a lot.
Okay, there I favorited Western Athletics Mixler. Because someday I'm going to remember there's a Western game and listen to you.
Yeah.
Because that's why I haven't this year, because I don't remember Western games are on, because I don't pay attention anymore.
I just assumed they're hot garbage like every sport was when I was there.
Except for when volleyball starts, I then will be following them, and then be incredibly disappointed, probably.
Yeah. By the way, the spring football thing, they're going to lose almost every game. It's okay.
That team is going to be bad. They're going to be horrible.
Yeah, we spent all this money on a football program to what? Go 0-12?
That thing, the best thing that could have happened to them was not playing this season. That thing is going to be so bad, it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, but anyway, guys, I do have to head out here now because my girlfriend's here, and we got to start making some gingerbread houses.
Oh, is that what the kids call it nowadays?
Yep.
You're
anyway, thank you for having me on, guys. Hope you two stay safe and have a happy holiday. Thank you very much again
have
for
a
having
happy
Merry
holiday,
Christmas, RJ. Thanks, buddy.
New Year. We won't
Go
acknowledge
Pack.
2020.
Yep. And go Packers. Let's get Rodgers. Yep. Get Rodgers another ring. Get Giannis his first. If the Brewers can hit the ball, it'll be nothing short of a miracle. Goodbye, everybody.
If you lose to us in the conference championship again, we'll be all right. And he hung up. I love
RJ Larson, everybody. Love RJ to death. Thanks for coming on, bud. All right, my plugs. Well, I mean, it's tonight, so it ain't gonna happen, but eventually, sometime again, I'll be streaming. I have a little kind of sort of play-by-play thing now. Go to twitch.tv and look up PBE Sim, capital PBE, underscore, lowercase letters, and Sim, SIM, and I do calls on there. Tonight's me and Danny B, but this podcast won't be up tonight. So you could archive it and look. We do commentary for Out of the Park baseball games in the Pro Baseball Experience League. Pro Baseball Experience is basically, it's this really fun thing you do. You make a player, you use an updater, you use all these fun things that some incredibly generous volunteers have made, and you join a Discord server, and you join a locker room, and you kind of have your own little baseball experience, and you write media pieces and do podcasts and have a Twitter account, a canon Twitter account, and those kinds of things to make it more of an experience, and you basically have a good time with a bunch of people and see how a baseball career would go for you. And our official day of new recruitment comes up on Friday, so this will be up by then. So if you are interested at all, go to look up Pro Baseball Experience on Google, or message me, or look up probaseballexperience.jsync.net and see if you can get in and get involved. And if you like it, you can stick around a while, and you may even be teammates with me in KC or Cancun someday. Other than that, just this podcast, and of course the No Marks Allowed podcast season finale, year finale is tomorrow. We'll be going over a few things like feud of the year, wrestler of the year, stuff like that in the finale show tomorrow. So, for Justin Minkley, I am Michael Dion, telling everybody to get the vaccine, stay safe, and stay healthy. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night. Bye-bye, everybody.